Now please welcome Tara Kelly.
Good afternoon. We'd like to include you in the conversation about preservation, so please let us know what you think about the efficacy of the landmarks law and vote in our poll. You'll have just a few minutes, so please do so quickly. Built at the height of the mid-century modern movement, Eero Saarinen's TWA Flight Center ushered in a new era of jet travel. But for 15 years since its final flight took off, the Flight Center has remained in danger of quiet decay, unable to fulfill its original purpose as an airline terminal. MAS has participated in the effort to preserve this building from the beginning, even proposing viable alternatives to an ill-advised scheme proposed back in 2000. Like the owners of so many other cherished but obsolete landmarks, the Port Authority has been seeking inventive and creative ways to celebrate this extraordinary building, restoring it both as a commercial hub and an architectural masterpiece. In this next presentation, please welcome MCR Development's Tyler Morse, who will explain their proposal to restore the landmark to its jet age splendor.
Beer garden, an ice cream store, a fitness company, a bicycle tour group. To be here today to talk about one of the most important buildings in America, the TWA Flight Center at JFK, which we are adaptively reusing and completely rehabilitating into a hotel and event space. So the short story is it's going to be a 505-room hotel with 40,000 square feet of meeting space. It's going to be one of the premier airport hotels in the United States, certainly probably the world. I like to say we're building the greatest hotel in the Western Hemisphere because that is easy to do when you're starting with Eero Saarinen's masterpiece. The Saarinen building, as you guys all know, opened in 1962 to great fanfare. The World's Fair was a couple of years later. It is a structural wonder with 175,000 square feet under the shell, 125,000 square foot volume held up by only 4 points of contact with the ground. Here is Eero Saarinen's masterpiece. And in the background, you can see the new hotel buildings. So we are completely rehabilitating the building. It is going to look as it did in 1962 to the penny, to the window walls, to the shell, to the lighting that envelops the building. And our goal is to bring it back to exactly how it was in '62, and to really honor Eero's legacy. Eero Saarinen, as you guys know, was a prolific architect of the era. I like to call him the first Starchitect. There were a lot of firms back then, SOM, and some of the other big firms. And Eero did the General Motors Technical Center, Bell Labs building, Black Rock on 6th Avenue, the St. Louis Arch. We have some photos of these here. The Kresge building at MIT, the ice skating rink at Yale, the Ingalls Rink, and the U.S. Embassy in Grosvenor Square in London. He was prolific. He tragically died at age 51 prior to seeing the completion of the TWA building. So we want to bring back his legacy and restore the building to exactly as he intended it to be. Over the years, the building has seen some pretty rough damage. TWA was a financial experiment that didn't go so well after Howard Hughes sold the company in the mid-'60s, and the building hit on hard times. The concrete shell is currently deteriorating. It was covered with a non-breathable coating in the late 90s, so moisture is getting inside the building and eating away at the concrete. The interiors have not seen any money probably in 25 or 30 years, and in particular, the building has been dark for 15 years. So, when you don't use a building, it becomes harder to keep it up and maintain it. If you look at the beautiful window walls that are still remarkable to this day, I know of no other that are like this. The gasketing is 60 years old. It's cracked. The windows fall down. Occasionally, the windows fall out. That's all being totally rehabilitated as part of this project. The HVAC system is 60 years old. It's not new technology, so there's a big cost of putting this building back together. Here's a fabulous shot of the building in its raw state when it just had the concrete walls. But what we're also doing is we're trying to infuse the building when we bring it back to life with the ethos of 1962. It was a wonderful era. You were coming off of Levittown. The U.S. was in a great economy in 1962. It was Camelot. It was the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Beatles landed at JFK in America for the first time. JFK Airport is really the gateway to America. John Glenn had just circled the Earth. The Cold War was on. The space race was on. Anything was possible in 1962. Vatican II was that year, a total reformation of the Catholic Church. This was the first year that the New York Mets played. And if anybody was wondering where the Jets name came from, it was because the Jet Age came of age in New York City at the time. The first color television show was on primetime in 1962. Fittingly, it was the Jetsons. Here's Howard Hughes, the founder and original owner and the commissioner of the Eero Saarinen building. So we're going to infuse the building with the spirit of all of those elements. Here's the Lockheed Constellation that was actually designed by Howard Hughes, and he gave it over to Lockheed. This was the mainstay of TWA's livery when this building was designed. So a few comments on our hotel. We're going to have a 175,000 square foot lobby, 500 guest rooms, 40,000 square feet of meeting space. We're going to have a 10 to 12,000 square foot museum component that's going to focus on three things. The coming of the jet age in New York City. All the big carriers were based here then. TWA, Pan Am, Eastern, American, and all their maintenance facilities. We're going to focus on TWA versus Pan Am, the epic struggle for the skies, the first carrier to go transcon, the first carrier to go transatlantic. And we're also going to focus on mid-century modern as a design movement, this building really being the pantheon of that movement. A really common question I get is people think we're going to put guest rooms in the Saarinen building. That is not the case. You can see from the slide here, the guest rooms are removed from the Saarinen building to respect the Saarinen building. The Saarinen building is the celebrity here. We live in a celebrity culture between the New York Post and Us Magazine and all that stuff. The celebrity of our hotel is the Saarinen building, and that's the highlight of the project. And just a quick little word, we had an open house New York event last Sunday, which was very exciting. We had 10,000 people come by the building just to check it out. So they took their own personal time on their day off on a Sunday just to come check out the building. So we are really excited to bring this building back to life, and we look forward to sharing a martini with everybody here when we open the building, which will be in 2018. Thank you.